Why do we need it? Why we need it? Why we need it? Because we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us back to sanity. This is total insanity when you're in self-annihilation, when you're in self-mutilation, when you're into basically suicide in itself, slow suicide, and you don't even know exactly what you're dealing with, and you're being tricked to thinking that everything is well, feeling that everything is well, and you're slowly going down the pipe. You see, documentation says it. Let's look at the documentation. Those who believe in the spiritual kind of component, some interesting things. Twice likely to drink. Okay? Or smoke. Three times likely, okay, to smoke or binge drink. All right? 4 times likely to use the illicit drugs. So if you're not doing it, the likelihood is that you're going to go more toward it. There's documentation saying it. And that's, that's over here. But let's look at it even on the adult side. That's the teenage side over here. Here's on the adult side is. They're twice likelier to drink if you don't get a spiritual kind of component. 3 times likelier to smoke. 5 times likelier to use. 7 times likelier to binge. 8 times likelier to use pot. So we're finding out is that there is something that's warding away. There is something that is fighting. Whatever you choose it to be, whatever your source of power happens to be, what happens to be your gun. You see, because you're going to have to load this gun with something to fight this war. We keep talking about the war of drugs. We need to start talking about the war within, because the war within us is what we have to fight. And have to fight it with some kind of force, some kind of power to get us through. Whatever you choose it to be. Here's what spirituality provides. It provides hope. When you've given up. When you totally done gave up. Totally gave up. Totally done gave up. Nobody don't love me no more. I'm not going to make it anymore. God, I'm flunked out of school. My family, we're poor. I've lost total hope. What spirituality provides is that there is a ray of hope. It provides a value, whatever your value system happens to be. Whatever that is. Whatever those mores are. It provides to love something. Also gets you to love yourself. And once you learn to love yourself, it transcends that you can end up loving others. Because as a result of you not loving yourself is that you go into total self-destruction. Total self-destruction. How long is this going to last? How long are we going to stay in this vicious cycle? It also teaches us how to forgive yourself, because some of us are still dealing with things that we need to forgive ourselves with. Why we keep doing the same things over again and again is that, guess what? We don't want to forgive ourselves. And they come into treatment saying, you know what? Man, if I only told you what I've done. If I've told you what I've done. I've hurt too many people. I had a guy one day to come into treatment and says, I took a guy out one day and I, don't know. Can't forgive myself. And he shot him. And he didn't know whether or not he killed him or not. And it was killing his conscience. And it was killing him so bad. Well, guess what he started to do? He started to use more drugs. Because he thought it was cool at the time to do it. But he recognized that he was feeling bad about it. Fortunately, later on, we found out that the guy that he shot, he did not kill him. That he had to learn to forgive himself. You're also going to have to forgive others. You're going to have to forgive that dad. You're going to have to forgive mom. You're going to have to forgive some spiritual institutions. You're going to have to people who crossed you in life. People who told you a lie. A lot of people that you trusted that end up crossing you. Is that you're going to have to learn to forgive others. To come to the point of clarity in your life. That you're going to have to stand firm and stand tall. Lastly, you're going to have to start looking at it as going to be a peace beyond all understanding. So you're going to need some peace in your life. See, we're always talking about a piece of money, I got a piece of gun. But in true reality is, in the long run, is that you're going to need P-E-A-C-E. You're going to need some peace in your life. Not on your life, you need peace in your life to survive, to come back through this valley that you're in. It's because walking this valley is not going to be easy. But with the power of the spiritual point is that we can walk ourselves through. And lastly, of all things is, it looks like his life is blank. So we start to look at the serenity prayer. What is it? What is the serenity prayer? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You're going to have the courage enough to recognize that if you're at this stuck point in life, that everybody has given up on you. Nobody wants to deal with you anymore. That you're going to have the courage enough to get out of this. Despite that the whole world appears to be against you. Everybody appears to be against you. Family, friends, and foes. Everybody's against you. Is that you're going to have to find a way to walk out this. Have the courage enough. To have the courage to end up and say no when everybody tries to draw you back into the same trickery, the same madness, the same annihilation. Because when you go in the ground, your family goes into the ground. When you go to the ground, your family goes to the ground. Your children. And what will your children say at your funeral? What will your children say at your funeral if you keep this same behavior up over and over again? Have the courage, have the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Because the path of drugs and alcohol and crime is nothing but total destruction.